Hello, my name is Patrick Stanley. I'm going to be having a discussion with you about transportation. To give some background about myself, I'm currently a MBA student here at North Carolina A&T State University, and I'm studying the supply chain management concentration. I also have my bachelor's degree in supply chain management, and that's from North Carolina A&T State University, and I obtained that during the spring of 2019. After graduation, I felt that I needed to learn a little bit more about transportation and supply chain in more depth, and that led me to apply to the MBA program. And so far, the MBA program has really helped me learn more about transportation and supply chain management, especially when it comes to cost, mode selection, and even modeling. I'm originally from a small town in North Carolina called Four Oaks, North Carolina. That's about 45 minutes southeast of Raleigh and is located in Johnston County. And really, my interest in supply chain management really started with my interest in the railroads, and the railroads play a huge part in transportation and, and with transportation and supply chain. Most of my experience has mostly been in manufacturing, retailing, and in warehousing, and both of those areas are supported by transportation. Here at North Carolina A&T State University, I've been involved in some things transportation related. For instance, I'm currently involved with the Center of Advanced Transportation Mobility, also known as the Transportation Institute. They basically focus on transportation research. And I've had three internships. I interned with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. I've had one with the Federal Railroad Administration, and I also had a internship as a research intern with the Center of Advanced Transportation Mobility. The research internship really built the foundation because they taught the exposure to transportation research and the basis of how transportation functions in different areas. And some other things I've accomplished in the transportation area here at A&T is as I mentioned, I've been a transportation scholar. I've had a scholarship from the North Carolina Department of Transportation, and I've been a Dwight Eisenhower Fellowship Award recipient, which is a transportation research award. And most recently, I've been a HBCU Transportation Fellowship, which is similar to the Eisenhower, except that it's for graduate students. And I just recently presented a research paper to the January Transportation Research Board, which is held in Washington, D.C., but that was held virtually this year. If you ever have the opportunity to go to the TRB in Washington, you really should, because it gives you a really broad, it just shows you how broad transportation is and all the different areas that exist within transportation. Um, Next, I'm going to have a discussion about supply chain management because supply chain management is supported by transportations. And then next, I'll discuss the five modes of transportation. Basically, supply chain management, a basic supply chain work functions as having your suppliers, a production facility, warehousing, and to the final customer. And each stage is supported by transportation. For instance, I'll start off with the supplier. The supplier has to be able to transport raw materials to its facility to transform it into the components and products that production facilities needs. On both sides of that has to be transported either by air, rail, water, pipeline. Um, and it's the same way with the production facility because once that final product is produced, it has to be transported to the final customer. It could either be shipped directly to the customer or it could be shipped to a warehouse, and then the warehouse would ship it to either to the consumer or to a retail. And all those in those stages involve transportation. And basically the five modes of transportation are air, rail, truck or a motor carrier, water, and pipeline. And each mode of transportation has its advantages and disadvantages because they vary in areas of cost, speed, reliability, capability, capacity, and flexibility. For instance, air has the advantage of speed, but it can be very costly to use, and trucks have the most flexibility out of all the five modes of transportation, but that could be expensive also depending upon how many trucks are needed and what type of materials being shipped. Rail and water pipeline are the lowest cost but have the least amount of flexibility. And then based on those strengths there, that's how people and organizations select modes of transportation. Now, most of the time, transportation usually doesn't come into play unless there's an accident, and then or unless a transportation resource is not available. Like, say, for instance, you could be caught in congestion out on the road and you're annoyed about that, or the other flip side of that, you hear about an accident such as a highway accident, truck accident, or even a rail accident, and most of the time, that's usually when transportation really becomes a discussion. But other than that, it's usually just looked at as something that's just a given. And and through that, and then through all the different areas of transportation that we study, you can also look at it as a career or as a hobby. Because after I graduate, I'm going to be working with a logistics company, and I'll be working in the support area. So transportation, careers, and supply chain, those are very attractive careers that people should be more aware of. If you have any more questions, just get you can ask me or you can get contact with one of our representatives. I appreciate your time. Thank you.